Okay, here we are with the Ivan Files. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Commercial, you know.
Yeah.
I looked up this man, trying to figure out who he was and how he tracks, and he's what he struck me as.
Who's this man?
George Burns.
George Burns?
No, this guy right here is he's J. Robert Oppenheimer, and I learned how to spell his name properly.
Good luck with that.
When I looked it up, yeah.
It's a lot of vowels.
Yeah, two P's. Anyway,
Would that make it a PP?
you're welcome to look at all that stuff. I don't think we'll carry it into another meeting. That doesn't make sense to me, but unless you guys want to.
So what do you know about Oppenheimer?
Nothing.
So
other
you
than
just
what
wanted
I
to
get
share
in
these
there.
pages with us?
Well, that and the movie. You guys seen the movie?
These boys have. I have not yet.
Yeah. Well, what did you think of that?
I know.
This
I
guy
feel like I got all this free time.
just trips through making the Manhattan Project, just making an atom bomb.
Oh, yeah.
And then he goes through at what RFK and JFK were a little bit concerned about was that he had communist friends, and not only that, his brother had joined the Communist Party, but he never did it. That was not part of what he was doing. I think he was a little bit flamboyant. Not flamboyant.
No, it's
That would be
flamboyant.
something, yeah.
Flamboyant is something
sounds way
totally
more
different.
fun.
A bit flamboyant.
That's when you're in the hot tub late at night.
Yeah.
You're slamboyant.
Yeah. He was like almost a single individual, although there were thousands of people working for him and doing what they had figured out. And he seemed to be the central character. He was the chairman of that commission that oversaw that stuff. And what the two boys were concerned about was that he might be a little lax on secrecy, just out of the mouth sort of stuff inadvertently. And let's see, what else was there?
It turns out he wasn't. There was a spy working at Los Alamos.
Yeah, and his wife.
Yeah, and then his name was Klaus Fuchs.
What?
Klaus Fuchs.
Sounds like you got to throw up.
He was one of the German scientists that he brought in.
He was a spy?
He gave some of the research papers that they had, and he's the one that transferred. I mean, this is back when the Rosenbergs were executed.
Yeah.
Right? So it was all around that time.
Who was it?
His name was Klaus.
No, the one
Rosenberg.
Executed.
Rosenberg.
That's right.
Him and his wife.
Yeah. And I had a lot of reservations in thinking about that sort of thing. Of course, I was just a kid.
Wait, who was executed? The
They're called the
Rosenbergs.
Rosenbergs, yeah. Because they
He
were
was
spying for...
Accused of being spies, at least.
So America put them to death?
Yes, they
Killed
did.
him and his wife.
Oh. And this was
And-
obviously publicized because you guys
Yeah.
were talking about it.
Right.
So how old were you when that happened?
Oh, no. Let's see.
Do you remember that?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I remember it coming over the news, wondering what the
It
hell
was like
it
the early
about.
50s, wasn't it, when they were finally executed?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the war ended
Uh-huh.
in
The early-
48, right? Is that right?
45.
Started in 42. Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it was 51, 52 is when they actually killed him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. What?
Yes.
I can't believe that.
Yes, a husband and wife. And stories are still coming out about it
Yeah.
that could potentially prove their innocence.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Well, you had a bunch of congressmen that were were you ever a member of the Communist Party? Were you ever
Wanting
a member?
a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, they're, what do they call that? The group, not,
KKK?
no, this was just, damn it,
Yeah, it's, you're talking about the Communist Party,
Yeah.
right? Whatever the
Yeah,
there was a name for it.
yeah, right.
What was the Communist Party in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a political organization of some kind, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're
Oh,
talking
I think
okay.
so, yeah.
about?
And part of those members were congressmen?
Only the ones that were accusing that were sitting on this panel. Did you ever see the movie Majestic?
Mm-mm.
Anybody?
Yeah. Mm.
No.
No.
Well, wasn't it Senator McCarthy that would pretty much
That's the
started
one,
this
the
whole
McCarthy
thing? McCarthyism.
stuff. Yeah. You got the names.
He
Paul,
pretty
yeah.
much started this whole
Yeah.
anti-communism
Yeah.
Reds thing.
Great
Where
big thing, and
Wow.
accusing people that didn't.
Yeah.
And of course they would go, but then there was these little guys that were sitting up
So it's kind of
there.
like Trump today.
I mean, I was thinking the same thing. Like, you think we have come a long way as a society, and then you're like, oh boy, we haven't learned nothing. Like, you look at it, you're like, we have not learned anything about our
No.
mistakes. Like, this is ridiculous.
Well, that's why they repeat themselves, and it's cyclic. It
Yeah.
does go through cycles, and we're unfortunately on the back end of the cycle, which is a bummer.
We're gonna go through some roads. There's gonna be some bumpy roads ahead of us
Yeah.
in the next 5 years. It feels like.
The Communist Party, I think, is alive and well in our country. I would guess it
there
is.
are some cells.
Yeah.
The Communist Party in our country?
Yeah. Yeah. Like for instance, Germany has outlawed Nazism. Nobody can put together a Nazi party or do any of that kind of stuff because of their history. But I know some communist people, and their sons mostly is what I know, and they were dyed in the wool. They really had a.
Who the hell do you know that's communist?
That's a secret.
My buddy Claus. Can't say that on camera.
It's his father, is what I understand, was a communist, and he kind of leans that way. But
How can you
was
be a communist in this country?
one of the staff.
They just have these little underground cells.
Yeah.
These people get together on their own, and they have
Well,
KKK still exists in this country, but
And that's
they're
got to be
just,
communist.
they're just not out in the
No.
open
Good
as much
God.
I mean, communism is just a philosophy of governance,
Yeah.
right? It's like a type of government, right?
Marxism.
Marxism, there you go. But I mean, a different philosophy in terms of like the way people should be governed,
Yeah.
in my mind, shouldn't be a reason to put someone to death.
Yeah.
But that
Well,
that
but
was
they
a
were
different
accused
time.
of being spies, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Or
they were.
they were accused of being spies.
Yeah.
And that's rule of thumb. You're going to get knocked off if you do that stuff.
But part of the Red Scare was the fact that people were having these conversations about communism, and that was a rabbit trail that people would follow to find the spies. Because it would topple the government, right? Like what they were looking for was some sort of revolution inside of America that was communist-led, which is why there was such a scare.
Yeah.
And that can lead back to this.
Yeah.
Because the reason the Red Scare it was so prolific was because the Soviet Union had nuclear weapons. That's what scared the hell out of everybody. They've got nuclear weapons. Remember duck and cover under your desk?
Oh, yeah.
Lean up against the wall like that's
People-
going to protect you.
People building mass concrete
Underground shelters,
barriers
yeah.
down below. Yeah.
And the fearmongers used the Red Scare they used because of what this guy invented, and the Russians got their hands on it, everybody's scared as hell because all they got to do is launch a missile, and it takes about 12 to 15 minutes to get over our country and
Yeah.
boom,
There
and
was
millions
a-
of people die.
There was a lot to them having to build an atomic bomb, though, beyond the spies. But the triggers, how do you trigger it just right? That's the kind of stuff that they didn't want to get loose, because Einstein, like I said before, had the formula, which was a simple formula, E equals mc squared. But that doesn't do anything. You can write it and put it on a piece of paper, and it's just sits there. You've got to set the engineering of it, the physics and the engineering of it requires an awful lot of brain power. Oppenheimer said it. Well, they're going to get it anyway. And
Yeah.
when you look at how things develop in our country or in the world, you can't invent something and never show anybody, because it's going to out somehow. And not a spy or not, but the brain, the education, everything that is connected with that was pointed in that direction. And, the big thing that Harry Truman had to do was, can you imagine him sitting there and talking to Einstein and this guy about, how bad is this going to be? How many people are going to die? Do you remember how many?
Yeah. Well, total to date, I think after all the years, it's upwards of 350,000 people.
Yeah. There was the immediate blast, and then there was the radiation stuff. Man, we don't want that stuff over here. If the aliens are there, I hope they stop them all if somebody starts using this.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because I was kind of trying to liken this conversation to like where we are today. Like, what is the next big scientific leap, excuse me, that we're going to go through as a society? And I think it's alien based right now, right? I mean, you can be scared of AI. AI is a whole different deal, but that cutting edge technology, like, you're seeing a lot of government conversation regarding alien tech
More
right
and
now.
more, yeah.
True.
Like, more than we ever have.
Yeah,
So like,
correct.
is that the next thing, and will that ever will that ever be revealed to the public? And it would almost take something like this
Yeah.
for us common man to even know what's in the works right now.
War of the
Good
Worlds.
point.
You know,
War of
like,
the
how else
Worlds.
would you know that this was being developed had it not been dropped on the planet?
That's something
Right.
about the.
Probably
Good
would never
point.
know.
Yeah,
Sorry
you
to
wouldn't
jump in
know
on you.
No,
that.
it's all right.
When they say you can't keep a secret, well, they kept the secret very well for that.
For a short amount of time, though,
Yeah.
right? And maybe that's what's going on with the alien
Yeah.
piece of things now. Is like,
Yeah.
it's been under wraps for so long that whistleblowers on their deathbed are just like, forget it, everyone needs to know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did-
Well, and what's so horrible about it,
Yeah.
right?
We don't know,
we
though,
don't
right?
know.
There's
But
a
you-
lot bad about the atom bomb,
No,
right? But if we
right.
didn't know, we didn't know.
But you
right?
go back to
here's,
even
oh, go ahead.
you go back to it's a movie, so it's fictional, right? But if you were to really pull apart the movie War of the Worlds, the original, not the remake. I mean, they're very similar, but the whole reason why that spaceship came down was because they were watching the human race destroy themselves and the planet, and they came down to stop it
Yeah.
by just killing everybody. You obviously can't handle what you're learning, so we're just going to take care of it.
We'll take care of it.
And then we will replant another human species, but maybe a refined human species, once the Earth is healed.
I mean, if they're listening, can we just keep the good ones?
Can we just keep the
Yeah.
good
Get rid of the crazies,
Most
the people
people are
that are trigger
good.
happy. Get rid of them, but keep like the ones that wouldn't come to violence.
There are.
Yeah, I would love to meet an alien. I would probably pee my pants, pass out, and
There
throw
were,
up, but which could scare them.
Which is the natural alien experience. It's nice to meet you. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, in terms of Oppenheimer, it's really interesting how they basically lay blame at the scientific community, and it became this Red Scare. I think that was one of the most interesting things that I took from the film was the passing of the torch from Einstein on to Oppenheimer. I thought that was a really cool moment that, of course, had happened, but had never dawned on me until that scene. I thought that was really neat.
Right.
Yeah.
And the potential for it. He saw it.
Yeah.
This Louis Soler guy who was Einstein's partner, he saw it. Einstein saw it.
Yeah.
They all saw the potential of it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very long after the Soviets got that technology that they went thermonuclear.
Yeah.
And their bombs were 6-7 times the size of Hiroshima.
How close
Wow.
is the movie to what really happened?
Well, I don't know. Probably fairly, because Oppenheimer is dead. He lived 60 years. He died in 67, I believe it was. And
He was a chain smoker from the time he was a kid.
that's right.
Really?
Yeah.
How old are you? How long have you lived?
60.
60.
Just
Love
a
it.
baby. 2 years behind me.
Yeah. His wife was with him the whole time, apparently. It wasn't a problem there. Not that that's terribly relevant, but it is relevant for a family and support, that sort of thing. Damn, I had a piece of paper. You guys had raised the question of what's the difference between fission.
Oh, it's right here. Is that it?
There it is. Yeah. It's
Oh, we've got handouts.
Is this fission and fusion? Is that what this is?
yeah, the difference between fusion and fission. Fusion
Well,
is
fishing takes a hook and a beer.
fusion, fusion is
I don't understand this.
fission is what's left after the energy is released when they, bomb it with some neutrinos. No, not neutrinos. Neurons. Neurons, yeah. But in fusion, there's not supposed to be that kind of radioactivity after. So, everybody's kind of looking out their ear hole about people who are promoting nuclear plants. But I don't know any other source of energy that when we have 11 billion people that can sustain that you could cover the whole place with solar panels, but they wear out. You have to trade them out. And if you sort of the wind and things,
Uh-huh.
they wear out too.
The
They have
propellers.
to change that whole thing. Yeah.
So fusion is where you smash a neutron into
No.
an atom, and then the proton comes off, and it changes from nitrogen to helium, and then that proton that comes off smashes into another one,
Yeah.
and then smashes into another one, and you create this chain reaction,
Chain reaction.
and that's what happens
Yeah.
in fusion. Fission is just the opposite.
Fission. No, fission is,
I have it
is where
backwards.
that fission is where that happens.
Okay.
You get a couple of elements off of that, or molecules off of that, but only one of them I think is radioactive. In fusion, see you can track where they split it with laser, they don't fire neutrons into it, I don't believe. They fire it with a laser, and it has to be at a certain heat. That laser, and for seconds, it can generate. They want to know if it's going to generate more power, more energy than they put into it with their things. And you guys, you know, there was a.
There is a company doing that right now.
What?
There's a company that's doing that right now. In fact, I think recently they just succeeded in, it was like for zero point 0.8 or 0.9 seconds, it actually produced
Yeah,
more energy than it did to required it to run.
That was the tokamak in
Yeah.
I think southern France.
Is that where it is?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
That's
It's a
crazy that he
big
knows
thing
that,
called
isn't it?
$1 billion. Yeah, it was in the Scientific American. Anyway, the fusion energy is a lot more per kilogram than fission energy. But the only one we know how to get right now in enough supply is fission. That was what goes into these nuclear plants, and that's what people wonder about, because where are you going to put the radioactive stuff that comes out of that reaction? And so in the war, that didn't matter. But after the war, they were blasting everything. You know, south, south, south. Yeah, where the
Bikini Atolls in the South
yeah,
Pacific.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Bikini Hotel.
Yeah. It literally blew up that island.
Oh, it
It
is.
literally
Yeah.
just destroyed it.
Yeah. And of course, they put ships and all kinds of things there too, and see what kind of damage they would do. They do a lot of damage anyway. So you know, our world is full right now of nuclear heads. They don't necessarily blow a whole country apart, but they'll sure raise heck with a city. And that's a lot of people to be messing around and killing, you know. It's awful, just awful. So there's the project, is to put it into fusion and get that going, so that they don't have to have these radioactive things going on, you know.
Good job, Dad.
Yeah, well done.
I got one comment. Yeah, you know, I bring Scientific American in here sometimes because I get good information from it. There's a term they got here is a pyrocene. Yeah, we're the Anthropocene group, aren't we? You know, you like there's the Eocene, all those. You look back in the history of the Earth, and they got all this. They're calling this a pyrocene, and what it talks about in there is all these fires just raising holy heck with the Earth. And,
So that's the epoch that we're in right now, is the Pyrocene.
well,
that what
it's
they're-
not official, I don't think.
Oh.
I think they have just glued a word together.
I see.
I think most people might know what pyro means.
Let's talk about that next week.
Fire.
Let's talk about fire next week.
Baby, let me light my
Let me
fire.
fire.
Yeah,
Does that sound good?
sure, we can do that.
Yeah, let's talk about fire next week.
Yeah,
talk
I
about-
wondered where these were. I left them out here. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was when you came out last week and
Yeah.
our technology failed us.
yeah.
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 Speaking of which,
We're back. Right, yeah,
Technology,
for
yeah.
sure.
it's into that pile.
Yeah, I had
All right. Well, you've got some research to do for next week. Let's talk about this pyrocene stuff next week, and maybe are aliens actually starting these fires?
well,
It's next week.
okay. Etrosaph hasn't showed up lately, so I
Oh,
don't
good.
know what the hell is. Maybe
What did you call them? Eos? Eons?
Epoch.
Epoch. I have no idea what that even is. So
Yeah,
that's
we're
your
gonna learn
jumping
about
off
that
part.
next
I have
week.
no idea what that is.
Next week.
Ancient history.
Yes, we're gonna learn about fires and pyrocene and epoch and all that stuff next week.
Okay.
So thank you so much
Later,
for joining
gang.
us, Dad. Good job.
The way you're
See.
describing it, Kelly, makes me think you have no idea what it is either.
A zero.
Yeah.
Fire. And
We'll talk
aliens.
about fire next week.
And we're gonna talk about the
um,
aliens and are they actually the ones starting the fires?
And what's going on with Epoch? We learn next week.
We learned. Not Ewok, Epoch.
Ewok is a whole other one, you know?
Yeah.
So say goodbye.
Yeah.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
tip
See
your
you.
hat. There you
See
go.
you next time, guys. Be safe. Be happy.
Be safe, be happy.
Be safe, be happy. It's almost